In this video, we're going to be talking about why your ex comes back when you start healing. But first, my name is Clay with ModernLove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing to this channel down below. Also, I want you to know that we do have a course called the XSolution Program that does help you to heal after a breakup. It also helps you to kind of go on that entire journey of getting back together with your ex. Of course, healing is an important component of that, so that is part of the program. If you want to learn more about that, you can find a link to that down in the description box below this video. Not going to hard sell you on it, so let's just go ahead and get right into this video. So, oftentimes when people start to focus on their own healing after a breakup, they find that their ex contacts them or is curious about them or wants to get back together with them or any number of other sorts of things. And you might wonder why this is happening. And it's not because of some sort of like bizarre cosmic joke or anything like that. It's not like, you know, the universe is playing some sort of cruel trick on you or anything like that, or it's not because we all want what we can't have or any, you know, nihilistic sort of point of view like that. It's because oftentimes when we choose to focus on our own healing as opposed to saving our relationship with our ex, there are two things that happen. Number one is there's a firm break in the dynamic between whatever was happening before we decide to start working on our own healing versus what is happening after we decide to start working on our own healing. And oftentimes that break in the dynamic can be what needs to happen to shake up the situation so that your ex suddenly is curious about you and wants to see what's going on with you, wants to see what's new with you, wants to potentially work things out with you, right? Because maybe that previous dynamic wasn't working. Maybe you were doing a lot of the mistakes that we've, talked about on many videos. You probably don't need me to tell you about this, the begging, the pleading, the promising, you've changed, all that stuff. But maybe once you've decided to focus on your healing and stop doing that, suddenly there isn't this overbearing pressure on your ex that's causing them to feel like, okay, this is not a good dynamic, this is not making me comfortable, and suddenly now they have the space to actually want to interact with you and connect with you. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that as we start to focus on our own healing, what's happening is we often turn our attention inward and focus on our own life. So instead of focusing our attention outward and focusing on, what they're doing, what they're posting on Facebook, why they friended that person, what it means when they change their profile photo, all of these, why did they text me? Why did it take them 3.5 hours to respond to the text that I sent them? And all these other things. Once we stop focusing on the external stuff and we turn our attention inward and start to think like, okay, how can I feel better? How can I start to work through my own issues? This can often come across in how we bring ourselves to the world around us. And this can come across in, things that we post online, things that we post on our social media, how we behave in the world around us. You might suddenly find that you're doing different things as you start to change your values, as you start to notice your values and bring your life into alignment with those values, and start to make some shifts in the way that you're living your life. And obviously, as you start to make some shifts in the way that you're living your life, that can cause your ex to start to see that maybe there's something more there than maybe there was there previously. Maybe you're starting to actually go after things in your life, and that's something that your ex is drawn towards. Maybe you're actually starting to bring more passion into your life, and maybe that's something that is sort of awakening your ex's desire to be with you again. And so there are all of these things that can happen as we start to shift our energy inwards. Additionally, we're also not keeping it focused on the externals, which is just going to add pressure and expectation and all of these other problems to a dynamic that can cause your ex to want to distance themselves from you, to pull back from you, and all of these other things. So as we start to focus on our own healing, as we start to work through all of these sorts of things, it's not really any sort of divine twist of fate or any sort of nihilistic, we all want what we can't have sort of universal law that's kicking in. It's just that we're shifting our focus, we're shifting the dynamic, and of course, as the dynamic shifts and changes, new things are going to start to happen. When we're working with people, oftentimes what we try to do is we try and help them to, shake the snow globe, so to speak, because sometimes when people kind of get stuck in a certain dynamic, whatever that might look like, they find that they're just kind of going in circles over and over and over again. And that can look like all sorts of different things. Either maybe they start to get close to their ex and then their ex pulls back and doesn't want to talk to them anymore, or they have an accidental argument or something like that, and then they backslide, and then they have to kind of do all this stuff over again to make up for lost ground, basically taking 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. And that can often happen when someone's stuck in a dynamic. But when we, shake the snow globe, we're changing the dynamic. And sometimes we just need to change the dynamic in order to get some progress being made. And so when you do start to shift your focus from, actively trying to get back together with your ex, actively focusing in on all the external things, actively, micro analyzing what they said, what they did, when they said it, when they did it, who they said it with, who they did it with, and all that, and you suddenly start to focus on yourself, that can oftentimes be enough of a shake up to the dynamic that it causes things to shift around a bit, and they might actually want to get back together with you, or at least become curious about what it might be like to interact with you, or to talk with you, or to be close to you, or anything like that. Now, most of the time, it's not going to be that they just, flat out want to get back together with you out of nowhere. It's going to be that they are just simply curious about what's going on with you, curious about where you're at, curious about what's happening with you, and they're just going to want to interact with you to kind of explore that curiosity. However, it's as they start to explore this interaction with you that they start to shift from just this sort of like intellectual exercise of what would it be like to talk to my ex again? What would it be like to interact with my ex again? What would it be like if we were, chatting again or something like that? And start to turn it into some sort of concrete physical thing where it's like, oh, I actually like my ex. Oh, I actually like connecting with them. Oh, they've actually changed a lot. Oh, they've actually changed, taken their life in a new direction, maybe because of some of that healing, maybe because of some of that introspection, maybe because some of that turning your attention inwards and bringing yourself into alignment with your values and all of these other sorts of things. But they might actually start to turn this from a intellectual curiosity into where it starts to actually have to become something practical, because they have undeniable real feelings for you, and it's not just about exploring curiosity. And when that happens, that's often when they actually want to get back together with you. Now, of course, there are many bumps and hiccups and twists and turns in the road along the way, which of course we talk about in our whole 5 stages your ex goes through in getting back together. I will put a link to that up there if I can get my angle right. And that will tell you more about the 5 emotional stages that your ex goes through in the process of getting back together with you. And of course, as this starts to shift from an intellectual exercise towards, oh no, I actually have real feelings for my ex. What does that mean? Does that mean I need to break up with a rebound relationship? Does that mean that I need to tell all my friends and family that we're seeing each other again, and I have to risk the embarrassment or them wagging their finger at me sort of thing, or whatever it might be? That's when things start to get real, and that's when you can start to experience some real major resistance from your ex when it comes to all of these sorts of things. But again, your ex may want to get back together with you or explore what it might be like to interact with you as you start to shake that snow globe, turn your attention inwards, make a firm break in the previous dynamic that maybe wasn't inspiring them to want to get back together with you, and start to align your life more with your own values. I think it's definitely worth doing, not necessarily doing for the sake of getting back together with your ex, but doing because you've learned to care enough about your own life. You've learned enough to care about your own experience of life in order to actually want to just live the best life that you possibly can. And if your ex comes along and becomes part of that life, excellent. But if they still aren't a good fit for the two of you and are still incompatible, with you and the kind of relationship that you want, then that's fine too, because the main goal is for you to have a better life. The main goal is for you to create the kind of life that you want to live and welcome the right kind of person into your life to be your partner. Anyway, my name is Clay with modernlove.life. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like what we're doing, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. You may also be interested in learning more about what your ex is thinking. If that is the case, we have a playlist over here that covers your ex's psychology, what's going on with them, or you might want to check out this video over here. But thank you so much once again, and I'll talk to you next time. Take care.